It's February 19th, about 7:30 in the morning. I just rolled into the shop. Guess what? It's raining again. I hope most of you are finished ginning by now. Look, we've learned some things as an industry this year about ginning wet cotton, or at least I hope we have. I want to share a couple of those things with you in just a minute that will help you next time this happens, because it may not happen next year, but we all know it's coming again, so we want to be prepared. I'll see you again in the office in just a minute.
This has been an extraordinarily wet fall and winter, but improper module staging caused most of our problems. Now, we've all seen modules that have been staged improperly, and we all know what that causes. It causes the cotton on each end of the module to become wet and rotten. The key to successful ginning is consistency, but here's the problem with lying modules down when they're wet on the ends. You'll be ginning along in the middle of the module and the moisture content will be just fine, but then all of a sudden you hit the point where the two ends are touching and you get a sudden surge of really wet cotton into the gin, and we all know what that does. You're choked up, you're shut down. So when you're lying them down like this, you're going to get a constant variation between dry and wet cotton, and that simply will not work. Now, we can take those same modules and flip them on their ends, and even though we've still got some wet cotton on the ends, at least we've got dry in the middle, wet on top and the bottom, and we've got consistency. And consistency is something you can deal with.
Another problem we're going to run into on a wet year like this year is we're going to have modules that are wet all the way across the bottom because maybe they were put in a spot that was a little bit too low. So let's talk about how to handle that.
We all saw more of this year than we care to remember, but here's a module that's wet on the bottom like we talked about. And remember, if you're ginning these horizontally, lying down, sausage style, whatever you want to call it, that rotten cotton that's on the bottom, if all we're doing is picking that module up and rolling it to get the wrap off and then putting it back on the feeder, if we're not turning it up on its end, there's no way to get this wet cotton off of here, and you're stuck running it into your plant. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that this may not be very pretty, and it's a little bit labor intensive, but I'll tell you what else it is. It is extremely effective. What you're looking at is a module that was put in a low area, water got up on the bottom of it, it's been loaded onto the feeder bed and stood up on its end with one of our flippers. And as you can see, the guys are simply peeling off the rotten cotton and throwing it off to the side. Like I say, it's a little bit labor intensive, but this keeps your gin from going down to maybe 20% of its capacity to staying where you need to be so that you can stay profitable. See the way that cotton just falls off of there? And here's your finished product.
So if there's one thing we learned in the Mid-South and the Southeast this year is this: you do not want to try to gin wet round modules lying down or sausage style. It's just yet another reason to go ahead and put in a flipper in your gin. There's a reason that we've sold over 60 flippers. We've got them in every cotton producing state from California to South Carolina. It's the safest, simplest, most effective way to unwrap round modules with the least chance of contamination. And now we know it's the best way to gin wet round modules. The phone has been ringing off the hook. Our shop is wide open at capacity right now trying to get orders filled this year. So don't hesitate. Go ahead and give us a call now. We want to hear from you. We'd love to come visit with you and show you how a flipper can work in your gin. Thank you so much. And hopefully this won't happen again next year.